Title: My husband 31M says my alone time is selfish, but I 29/F feel like I am disappearing. I am 29/F, and my husband is 31M. We have been together for 6 years, married for 2, no kids. We have a recurring fight about time. I work full-time and he does too, but our schedules are different. When I get home I need about an hour to decompress alone. Not silent treatment, not punishment. I just want to change clothes, eat something simple, and scroll or read without talking. Then I am totally fine hanging out and being present. He takes it personally. He will follow me room to room asking what is wrong, or he will sit near me and keep trying to start conversations. If I say, I just need an hour, he says it is weird that I need space from him and that couples should want to be together after being apart all day. Sometimes he says I am acting like a roommate. Sometimes he sulks and goes quiet for the rest of the night, which makes me feel guilty, and then I give in. The frustrating part is he gets plenty of downtime. He plays games with friends a few nights a week, and I do not interrupt. But if I try to take solo time, it becomes a relationship issue. What is a good way to communicate this, so he understands it is self-regulation, not rejection? Also, what boundary is reasonable here? For example, is it fair to say, I am taking 60 minutes, please do not come in unless it is urgent? Or does that make things worse? I want something that actually works, not another emotional discussion that ends with me apologizing for needing quiet. My alone time is like you playing your game with your friends. He will follow me room to room. Yeah, you lost me there. Is your husband an Australian Shepherd puppy? He sounds exasperating. Tell him he has 2 choices, give you your damn 1 hour, or you will sit at a bar for happy hour with a Cosmo and do exactly what you can at home for free. Eat, drink, read, relax and unwind. F36/M38 married 10 years. Husband reacts badly to me going to the gym, cutting my hair, and asking about dishes. Am I missing something? I'm posting anonymously because I'm feeling really isolated and could use outside perspective. I'm married with kids. Recently I started going to the gym again because I wanted to take better care of my health. I am overweight, and for the first time in over a decade, I'm physically able to exercise without pain. In 2025, I had my gallbladder removed, and since then my chronic back spasms, which I'd had for years, completely disappeared. Feeling physically better has allowed me to start doing the work I need to so I can reclaim my health. I don't go often, and I don't talk to anyone there beyond basic courtesy. One day I wore light makeup, which I do only occasionally, and decided to go to the gym that evening. My husband immediately became suspicious and accused me of getting dolled up to see someone there. He implied I was putting him and the kids last, accused me of being mentally checked out of the marriage, and suggested I must have a gym boyfriend. None of that is true. Over time, I've noticed he tends to equate my value with service to him, and responds with entitlement or anger when I don't prioritize that. He often treats my autonomy as a problem and my role as service-oriented. Around the same time, we had a conflict over something very small. I asked him, for probably the 100th time, to put dirty dishes on the right side of the sink instead of the left, because the left side is used for washing. He became extremely offended and responded by insulting my body, saying my big ass was in the way. That felt unnecessary and cruel for such a minor request. The situation escalated through texts where he accused me of cheating, being deceptive, neglecting the kids, and said he might start talking to other women to see how I like it. I didn't engage much because it was overwhelming. Fast forward to this week, I cut my own hair. I hadn't cut it in over a year, it was very long, and I trimmed it to a still long length using a layering tool. For context, after my haircut my hair still reaches just past my mid-back. When my husband saw my haircut, he mocked me, crossed his eyes and used a voice to imply I was stupid, insulted my appearance, and threatened divorce. He compared what I did to shaving his head and beard. As the conversation escalated, he became increasingly animated and said, "Oh my God, it looks like shit," while jumping up and down for emphasis. It felt humiliating and excessive, especially since this was about my own hair and body. He later said sorry for reacting harshly, but then gave a speech to the household about how we all need to stop arguing and follow his leadership. He continues to frame my going to the gym, making decisions about my body, or asking for small household cooperation as disrespectful and selfish. For context, my husband has always been very flirtatious and social. He used to drive Uber/Lyft and regularly interacted with many different people as part of that work, including women who flirted with him. Obviously, I never treated that as infidelity. What others do and say is out of your control, but how you respond to it is essential. He can be charming and social with others, but at home situations like this often turn into accusations, control, or insults rather than discussion. I usually try to de-escalate conflict by staying calm, disengaging, or distracting rather than arguing back. I'm trying to understand whether I'm being unreasonable or if this is about control rather than the gym, hair, or dishes themselves. I don't feel like I'm doing anything inappropriate, but his reactions feel extreme and degrading. I left out lots of very offensive things that he said because it was just way too much, emotionally and in quantity. I'm open to honest feedback. I just want to know if I'm missing something here. Your husband is an abusive asshole. Fuck that guy. Time to find freedom. Your sons are learning that this is how to behave as a man. Your daughters are learning to accept it. He jumped up and down? My vagina slammed shut at hearing that, and yours should too. How embarrassing for him. 35 female, wife constantly loops during more serious conversation. I, 36 male, can't seem to get her out of it without being stern. Any advice? Been with my wife going on 15 years. She always had this quirk, but it seems to be getting worse. I need advice on what to do. Whether she's venting about something at work, or we are having a disagreement, she keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over again. A 5-minute conversation takes 30. In both instances I have stopped her and restated everything, and asked her if I am hearing her right, and she agrees, but then starts again. Most of these things are things I have zero control over, so outside of letting her know I hear her there is nothing I can do. If it's something I can do, I restate what my direction will be from now on, and she agrees. But then loops again. I thought this may be a me thing, but this past fall she came home upset, because her otherwise glowing yearly review at work had a section about essentially her looping. Someone would mess up something at work. It was noted and was really inconsequential but fixed, but she seems to bring it up over and over again to a point her bosses noticed. My worry has shifted now to my son, 8 male. Recently he got in trouble at school for talking during work time. It's an issue and needs to be corrected, but she is constantly bringing it up every time they interact like he did something heinous. We both had a talk with him and told him our expectations, and he received a punishment, and we need to make sure he follows through, but we don't need to harp on him day in and day out. In some instances I have been stern with her and tell her, you keep saying the same thing. You agreed with everything I said when I restated your argument. We need to move on from this. Any advice on how to handle this? What you describe sounds like obsessive thoughts. Does your wife have any obsessive or compulsive traits? Does she know she does this? Does she agree with you that it is a problem? Therapy. She can retrain her brain with a professional's help. What do I 24F do or tell my boyfriend 24M about my inheritance? I inherited almost $375,000 from my Nana, my mother's aunt who raised her. And up until today my entire family was under the impression that there was no will, as that is what we've been told this whole time by the executor. After getting some mail this week, me and my sister, thought that without a will my mother's birth mother, Nana's sister, would try to contest to get the money. We now know that my Nana got a fully notarized will in February 2023 stating very clearly that her entire estate, $750,000, was to go to me and my sibling only. Overnight my entire life has been changed. My boyfriend, 24M, and I, 24F, are in bad home life situations. Mine is non-physical and financial abuse, while his is unlivable conditions and poverty. With the family members we live with. I know this money could get us both out of where we are, but as of a week ago, I didn't think I'd get anything at all, and had accepted the best course of action for my personal future was making sure once I leave this house, I can 100% financially take care of myself, and never have to rely on anyone else again, financially no matter what. I came to terms with having to suffer for a minimum of 2 more years, 1 to left to graduate trade school, and 1 to get a job in that field, and can save up, before he and I could move out together. This gives us both to use these 2 years to figure out ourselves education-wise, and save up whatever we can in that time we have, while our bills we have now are laughable compared to the cost of living in California in 2026, even as a couple with 2 incomes. I also have almost $100K in debt, credit cards, school loans, medical, car. I plan to pay it all off. After paying those debts, I will only pay $500 a month in bills, Only phone plus insurance plus rent plus copays for medical. As opposed to the $1,200 of bills I have been paying for years, just living in my childhood home and having zero disposable income. $20,000 will be put into an emergency savings account, and for the first time in my life, I have more than $5,000 to my name. $5,000 will go into my checking for personal use, but in no way to blow all at once. More like enjoy being able to afford to go out with friends at all, or buy a coffee without budgeting or replacing decade-old things in my room. I have Insta in for at least 2 more years, getting an oil change when the light goes on, and not 2,000 miles after when I finally saved up enough. After everything, I will have $250,000 to I plan to put into investments, so by the time I do graduate and leave school, I am absolutely more than set. At least I hope, crossed fingers, light skin tone. Here's the issue at hand. I don't know what to tell my boyfriend. He's been aware of this entire situation I've been dealing with, but like I said, we thought there was absolutely no will, and it would be constant court battles, so me and my sister, accepted that we probably wouldn't get a thing, and basically overnight my life has changed. I don't like lying, but I also know that money makes people do ugly things and can make them selfish. I don't plan on telling anyone who is aware of the situation, and my Nana's passing the dollar amount me and my sister got, even if they ask. This goes for friends, our partners, and family, including our own mom. Of course, I know that the will is a public court document, so if anyone truly wanted to know, they would be able to find it after doing research. What do I tell my boyfriend? We have no children, do not live together, and are not engaged, but we have plans for our future, which includes all of the above. I've read too many horror stories on the internet of money making people do ugly things to the people they supposedly love. Most people told themselves before that that person could never or would never do such a thing, and it still happens. I do not think he would do that to me at all, but I've read that story too many times to not know I have to protect myself at all costs. What can I say that isn't a lie, but also doesn't give away I have life-changing money now? Do not tell him under any circumstance. Invest that money now. A good certified financial planner. Don't tell anyone, there's no rush. You're still really young. You might date several more people before you settle down with someone. Tell no one, especially a non-spouse partner. Not their business.